All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of 49 Volts. I am your host, Josh, and it's only been 2 months, right? I said an episode next week. It's only been 2 months, but glad to be back. And we have a really special guest today, somebody that I know pretty well here. We have Hemil Gurjar. Hopefully, I didn't butcher your last name there. Did I get that right?
You're good. It's Gurjar, but you're fine. You're close.
Gurjar. Okay. I
Yeah.
was close. I was close. We just
Yeah.
called you Hemil. It just occurred to me that I've probably never said your last name out loud, but um, so just to give everybody a little introduction to Hemil, you're a senior UX designer at Symbotic. You also had a senior UX designer role at Walmart Advanced Systems and Robotics, that sounds amazing. UX mentor, you're a UX product design mentor. You're also at Qualcomm as a UX designer. These are some big logos, buddy. This is quite a
Thanks.
resume. And I happen to know a product manager that you worked with at Qumulex when you were a UX
Oh
designer.
yeah.
He has great things to say about you. So really awesome to have you on and reconnect today.
Yep. I think that was my the best product manager I ever worked with at Qumulex. If you know him, he's a great guy.
Oh, I thought it was me. Now I think you're talking about somebody else.
And
No,
of course, not talking about you, Josh.
great to have you on. So as you probably may remember, I've spent over 2 decades on the other side of the fence, right? Working for installers, integrators, and I thought I knew the industry inside and out. But as soon as I came over on the other side of the fence where the products are actually built and the software is developed, I learned that there's like a whole other group of people I never knew existed with these roles that I didn't really understand. So just for the benefit of anybody who's more on the, install integration side, UX designer sounds amazing, but how would you describe that to people who've never heard of that role before?
Yep. So great question. And thank you so much for this wonderful introduction, Josh.
Yeah.
So UX designer. So basically, UX designer, in one sentence, if I want to explain, UX designer is a person who makes sure that your software, and now your software can be anything, right, from your mobile app, your website, or a complex enterprise desktop-based tool, such as video surveillance and access control tools that we have in this industry. It can be anything. So to make sure that software is user-friendly, the usability of the software is good, and the user feels inclusive. So these are the three major things that a UX designer keeps in mind while designing the software. Now, having said that, imagine in physical terms when you install how you install your cameras and how the network is connected to all of the devices decides overall user experience of the physical security system in sense. And similarly, uh, if a software, the way a product is laid out, labeled, and flows make a huge difference. So as a UX designer, we talk to users, we identify the end customers. So it can be the end users, can be integrators, the tech distributors, or the other end users, such as principal of the school who wants to install the security systems in their school, or the admin of a corporate building who want to install access control and other type of cameras. We understand their pain points, their requirements, map out workflows, create wireframes and prototypes, and collaborate with engineers to build solutions that feel effortless, even when what's happening behind the scene is incredibly complex.
That's amazing. So I think in the old days, I remember when we were using DOS, we didn't even have Windows yet. That's how old I'm getting to be, I hate to say. And I mean, I feel like software used to always be designed where they just kind of made it and people liked it or they didn't. There wasn't really a lot of feedback. I don't feel a lot of effort to understand what would be easier for somebody, as well as the different types of people that may use, the software, whether they may have a disability, or what type of screen, they may be using. I mean, we have to be very flexible, responsive with our design. Qumulex, that was, we always talked about that being a progressive web app, so it always kind of resizes to the type of display, the size of the browser that you're using, or maybe you're on a mobile device. I mean, it's just the whole different world now than it was in the 1800s or whenever it was when I was using floppy disks to play Oregon Trail. I mean, do you think that was a lot of trial and error over the years that maybe they realized that this was necessary, or how did we evolve to where we understood as an industry or just software in general that we needed to think about the user experience?
I think the concept of UX design originates, let's go back, originates from human factors. And human factors was a well-known term already in the tech industry. And human factors engineering was laid out from the deep research that went in human-centered design. So always the researchers and scientists were very curious on how to improve the human computer interaction experience, and that's where I have my master's in. My master's is in HCI, human computer interaction. So research goes way back, but I think the implementation took time. First, the accessibility, the UX was more like a compliance thing for companies, for software companies, like just a tick mark that hey, we just we just made sure that it follows this particular accessibility guidelines. But I think over the years, as the more and more software companies start coming out, the companies which made the user experience as number one priority has always won in the longer race. So if we see in the video surveillance and access control industry, for example, like it's been a few years I've left that part of tech industry area, but as I remember, Workaida was one of the big names. If you might correct me, Workaida was one of the big name, and
Hmm.
I remember,
Still are.
yep, I remember them, pretty much investing in the UX part as well. I think their visual guidelines, their design system, wa- that's what make them stand out from rest of the competitors.
Yeah,
So
I mean, we've talked about that on this podcast before. I mean, they do catch a lot of flack, but I think there's also some jealousy involved there, for those of us that have had to compete with them. But I would agree. I think they did a wonderful job of making their product. I mean, the experience to me from a product perspective, it goes even beyond the software. I think they really introduced that concept of QR code scan to install the cameras, bring them into the interface, just how simple and easy it was, both for really the installer, but also the user. We, in our industry, as you remember, I mean, it was very common for products that we were competing with. I mean, they would have classes that people would have to take and spend weeks just to learn aspects of the software. And Verkada comes in and says, okay, you're going to scan a QR code, hang them up, and then it's going to do everything you want it to do, but it's super easy. So I think hopefully as an industry, we learn from that and say, okay, obviously thinking about the user and making their life easier can lead to a lot of success, not making it harder.
yep, that you're 100% right. The idea of shortening the learning curve is one of the principles that you take in consideration while designing the solutions.
Do you think, because you've worked in several different industries here and you've worked for some big names, I mean, the security industry, I always feel like we're a little different. I feel like low voltage, all these low voltage industries, but security, even in of that, I mean, it's just, it feels like we're very niche, we're very different, we operate differently, we think differently. Do you think from your time in this industry and then moving on into others, I mean, do you think that we were lagging behind maybe in focusing on that UX, and maybe that's why somebody like Verkada stands out, or did you think that the industry was catching up from what you could see? Because I know you did a lot of product comparison and a lot of research and looked what was out there. I mean, do you think security is getting better?
I mean, yes, I think there is an effort, ongoing effort. At least back in 2021, that's what I was observing. Like while doing the initial research, and as you said, we were going through competitive analysis when I was back in Qumulex, and the one place we used to end up going was IPVM,
Mm-hmm.
which regularly test and review security systems, and also and mostly usability issues came up time and time again. And the issue was with many legacy platforms, which rely on outdated design paradigms with interfaces that are hard to learn, slow to navigate sometimes, and often inaccessible on modern devices. Because we saw that the trend of user wanted a mobile first solution, because in lots of use case there were certain persona that we identified that wanted to just monitor through their mobile or grant access through their mobile, and if we see the legacy system did not well reflected in mobile level as well. that can create inefficiencies and frustration. And as we talked about Workida, they always set a different bar. They embrace the modern UX and visual design principle, treating enterprise security more like a consumer grade experience. Uh, so I think, but I think with players like IPVM guiding the industry in the right direction, I think companies are catching up. Like Qumulex was on the right path. So I'm pretty sure the industry is moving ahead in terms of providing better solution with better UX.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that was always, you talk about Qumulex. I mean, at least that was always the plan. That was the idea. I mean, we wanted to have a very simple and easy experience, but we also took a different approach there where we had to be compatible and open, with many different other platforms. It
Yeah.
introduces a complication that Verkada really started off. I feel like Apple. They just said we're kind of a walled garden and
Oh
our
yeah.
stuff works with our stuff. And so they had a lot more control over it. I know you're not in the security industry right now. You may not be aware, but they're now a member of OnViv, and they're showing a lot of signs of trying to be open too. So I'll be curious to see, how that affects things. But it's a huge company now. I think they have like 2,000 people in their sales department alone. I have a feeling they can handle it. So, one thing I'm curious about, like, obviously I'm very much in the marketing world these days, not as much in the product. So in the marketing world, the web content accessibility guidelines, are a big deal. And I don't know if people understand how broad the reach of that is, because it kind of starts where we think about it with websites because of the lawsuits and things that have happened in the name of accessibility. But I've noticed like video games, really anything I interact with, PowerPoints, PDFs. I mean, it's everywhere. And I think there's some good in there. I don't like the way that people can be sued without a chance to fix things. And I think that's a little wrong. But I do think in today's world, I mean, if you try to imagine an inability because you have a disability that you can't work with websites and devices, I mean, it's kind of a death sentence nowadays. I mean, you need to be able to use this stuff. So, I mean, what kind of changes have you seen, and how much impact do you think that has had on this when you think about user experience and UX design and really just the way that impacts how software looks now, because I think it is just such a huge priority.
Like you're 100% right. Today, more organizations see the web accessibility guideline as a foundation for creating more inclusive, user-friendly experience for everyone. It's not just about supporting permanent disabilities. It also benefits people with temporary impairments, different cognitive loads, or those using assistive technologies. For example, clear contrast ratios or keyboard navigation and screen reader compatibility improve usability across the board. Now, I'm going to use one example from one of my experience that I had with this issue. Well, uh, like take color blindness. I
Mhm.
might be wrong with this statistics, but like 1 in 12 men or 1 in 200 women uh, does get affected with color blindness. And in one of the data visualization dashboard that I was working on, worked on we originally use red and green to represent critical versus healthy system status, which is very very obvious thing to go for, right? Red and green to show it's for system if system is down or
Right.
system is up, right? Uh, uh, for user with red green color blindness, both appeared as nearly the same muted tone, making it nearly impossible to distinguish between an error and a normal state. So once we ran accessibility testing, we replaced those with color safe palettes and added iconography to enforce the meaning visually, which drastically improved clarity for all users and not just those with color vision deficiencies. So it impacted all of the users, right? With the icons and making it more clear. So it wasn't this was part of a big dashboard where you have to also show this system status. So if it's nice, visible, and does not confuses user, it's always good. And especially in industries such as security or robotics or automation, where a device going down or where a bot going down might might mean some kind of catastrophic outcome.
Yeah.
So the small things has a bigger impact. So that's why thoughtful design that consider the widest possible range of user needs, it increase influencing design, and also it has increasingly influencing on design systems, development workflows, and even how we think about success metrics. So that's one thing that I want to talk about is also design systems. As UX designer, one of their role is to identify company's language, design language. So and that's where design systems comes in. So design systems are great resource. It is maintained by the UX designers, the front end developers, and the marketing managers, where you define the company's brand, company's color palettes, their typography, icons, and
Hmm.
everything. So some of the famous design systems you can find online are Material Design System by Google. Salesforce has their own design system. Even Airbnb has their own design system, which are open source. And but especially, I suggest people out there listening to just go and just scroll through Material Design System. It's so great to play around with. You can download assets and just play around and see how you can incorporate them in your applications and or websites. And those design systems take and while designing those systems, we make sure that all the UI elements that we are incorporating in the color palettes are also accessible friendly. So from the beginning, you are making sure all of the tools, all of the Instagram post, anything you create is accessible friendly. So
Yeah, I don't think enough people understand about the accessibility guidelines, and in the U.S. at least, I mean, it comes at quite a cost. I think your first offense you can be sued for
oh wow,
$75,000, and I think it goes up from there. So, and I didn't know, and can I please fix it now? Doesn't work. So it's one of those things to go Google and watch the news pieces on YouTube, because it's out there. It happens. I don't know what your odds are of that happening, but I don't think enough people realize that these guidelines are out there and it can have a huge penalty. Like I said, I like the thought behind it because I think how, we think about it in a building, right? I'm in a wheelchair. I can't get to the second floor. That's not appropriate for a public space. We need people to be able to get up to the second floor. They need to have an elevator or a lift or something to get them there. But then we don't think about just how drastically challenging that is for people, whatever it is that's preventing them from being able to use the software the way that everyone else does. But I mean, people, all your banking, I mean, now to get a car title once you've paid off your car, I mean, that is now electronic. I mean, almost everything you need is electronic. I don't think you can really function in society without it. So I don't actually quarrel with the rules. I just think that's a little unfair that it's a game of gotcha. I think it should be more in order to get it right. But you mentioned social media. I mean, it covers social media, PDFs,
yep,
PowerPoints,
yep,
anything like that. So, but the nice thing is, I think it does encourage better design principles. And, this, like you mentioned, marketing. I mean, it's a thing in marketing, not just in software design. So it's encouraging you to be very intentional with your designs. It's very intentional with your color palette that you're choosing. And ultimately, when you try to make, a website much easier to navigate so that you don't get sued, it also then is making it easier to navigate for everybody, and how
yep,
many people now are using ChatGPT on their phone. I mean, I don't do it a lot, but I see a lot of people do, where they use that speech to text and just talk to it instead of type. I feel like a lot of that is born from those accessibility requirements. So I think we all benefit.
yep. That is true. Yeah, those are some great points, Josh.
Well, speaking of AI, AI continues to be the thing that we're all really excited or we're super frightened of. I mean, there seems to be no in between. I mean, what's your perspective on this? I mean, do you think, in the UX design world, is AI having a huge impact?
Well, I'm here for it. I'm really excited about AI coming.
Good.
I see AI doing the work that I feel which are repetitive, redundant,
Mhm.
and and they are. I'm very happy that it will automate those stuff. I see AI as a companion more than a competition.
Yeah.
There is some chatter that UX design is over. It's for every industry, Josh. To be honest, like if you see there are AI. uh, lots of AI startups where they are providing no code solutions, where you can just write a prompt and spit out like website and mobile apps, and people have started wipe coding nowadays. So
Hmm.
everybody can be a developer. If you know English, if you know how to write good prompts, you can generate your own apps and mobile apps. So that is great. But I think you still need, and like coming back to UX design. So before I answer this question, I will just give a brief overview of how the whole UX design process looks like on a higher level.
Yeah.
It might look different for different industry, different projects, different tasks. On a high level, it starts with requirement gathering. It starts with collaborating with product, sales, engineering, gather the requirements, do your initial research. The research can be desk-based research where you go through literatures available, or you do perform literature analysis, do interviews, perform interviews with the stakeholders,
Hmm.
get insights. Now you have lots of results. You have data from your literature analysis, you have data from your interviews, surveys, etc. And then you synthesize all of this data into key points, into key findings, and then you finalize the key requirements, right? Once you finalize the key requirements, then you go into ideation phase where you finalize user flows, information architecture, like what kind of information will I show in the homepage, what kind of the information will be hidden based on the user or my persona needs and pain points. And then you go into design phase, which is an iterative phase where you create a mock-up, showcase to the stakeholders, they will hate it, then you scrap it, create another mock-up, again show to the stakeholders, they will hate it even more, and they will try to go back to the first mock-up that you showcase, and you'll go back to the first mock-up. So it's like back and forth until they finalize the design, and then you generate a high fidelity design mockup, which
Hmm.
you ship it to the developers, where the UI elements are defined, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, everything is defined. Now, in this whole process, there were lots of redundancy. There was lots of data to go through, lots of data to analyze. There are AI apps that helps you analyze that data, that helps you speed up your process. Because in real world, the one thing that you don't have is time,
Right.
especially in startups, where the sales guy will tell us that if we can have this feature within next 2 months, we can acquire those customers in West Coast. Because
Right.
if they know we have this feature, they will happy to be on board in our app. So so because we don't have time in our hand, these AI tools fasten the design process. They will fasten this iterative process. They will fasten the process of generating those high fidelity mockups. Because through AI, we can generate those code-based mockups as well. So developer can use those mockups, and they can also generate a quick code, quick front-end code with just the prototype that I deliver to the front-end team. So this helps me fasten the design process, helps the company to ship the features fast, and overall help the business as well. So I see the future is bright. If you Because at the end you still need a seasoned UX designer
Hmm.
to make sure that the design that AI is generating is not just smart, but it's user friendly. It complies to the user pain points. It complies to the accessibility guidelines as we discussed before. Everything. So I think it's great. The future is bright.
No, I love that. And I think the human in the loop will be forever. I don't think we're
Yep.
ever gonna, but you're right. And I think that's what I always look at. Don Marone in our industry is very big into the agentic AI and providing solutions for customers to basically get rid of those workflows, those repetitive tasks that just take up a lot of your time and your energy, and let you focus on the things that you can truly be creative and use your knowledge and insight, things that you want to do, and get rid of that other stuff. So, no, I think that's great. So, I mean, talking about AI, and I mean, I think that now a lot of people, most people, I feel, are on some level using Chat GPT or something similar. Do you think that that is now going to really impact the way software looks? Do you think that over time, because AI will be able to do through a prompt so many of the things that we would normally have to go and configure? I mean, this is a big discussion in the security industry. And Thrive Logic, one of my customers, has actually just released Varka, which has that prompt-based interface that can pull up camera feeds and events and SOPs. I mean, do you think we're going to get to a place where it's kind of like most people that use Windows now don't go to the command prompt? They don't know what DOS is. They don't need to. Do you think that maybe all these other menus and all these things that we have to deal with may evolve to where we just use that prompt? It gives us what we ask for, and we don't even know what's on those other pages in the software?
No, that is a great insight, and I'll be really interested on how Thrive Logic is implementing the prompt-based UI. It will be very interesting to see. I think different industries handling the integration of AI in a different way. But what I see is that we don't have to change the how the current UI looks like. I mean, there's also an aspect of familiarity with the user. Like now let's talk about the most familiar UI, uh, data visualization dashboard. Everybody has
Mm-hmm.
come across some kind of data visualization dashboard, irrespective of the industry, to monitor trends, to monitor customer sites, to monitor uptime, downtime, anything. I see the those prompt-based AI wrapped around with the current UI. So for example, if you see a dashboard and there will be a small UI pop-up, I can click on it and I can just write a
Mm-hmm.
prompt. Hey, uh, generate a spreadsheet based on the trends in this dashboard and create a projection report for next quarter, and Excel sheet will be exported. So I think that kind of an amalgamation of the current UI and the prompt-based AI features will be very interesting to see. And that's what I'm seeing. Like I'm using certain internal tools by Microsoft, Azure, and I'm already seeing integration of such kind of AI features already, which
Right.
summarize whatever I'm doing right now without replacing the current UI. I think it will take some time. uh, you don't want user to wake up next morning and see all of what they're familiar with is gone and just prompt based. Everything is prompt based. It will be uh,
That sounds like something Microsoft would do with Windows. That's
yeah.
how they operate. But no,
Yep.
I see a lot of cool things. Like, even when I'm using my iPhone and I get all my different email, I just use their mail app, and it now summarizes. Like, I get this summary. You know, like I sent an email to a founder of a business. I won't shout him out here. He may not want that, but in the headline, where I would normally just see the title of the email, I know you can't really read it, but I mean, it says, encouragement was appreciated. Starting business is hard. Inertia, like, it gives me a summary of the email. I haven't even
Yeah.
opened the email. So, I mean, I think there's just all these little ways that this AI approach is, I think it's doing what it normally does. I personally feel like we're seeing the little changes, and I think 5 years from now we're going to look back and realize just how big a change we've experienced. But we're getting the elephant in bites at a time, so we can swallow it.
Yeah, I think it's like Google search, right? Nowadays, if you do any Google search, now if I
Yeah,
just search about, let's say, basketball, I will get like full
yeah,
summary of when it was invented, what type of basketballs are available, right? I don't even have to scroll down, and also the latest NBA score. Even I did not search about NBA, I just searched basketball, right? I think it's also changed how we do basic tasks with digital products such as like Google search or
yeah,
anything else. I saw a LinkedIn post a few days back where that a future generation will is gonna laugh on us that, like, do you guys really went through 20 website links on a Google search page and then
yeah,
find and then try to accumulate all of the information where I can just search anything and I can get nice summarized summary. So yeah, I think we are.
yeah. It it's Although I will say that in the advertising world, in the marketing world, the fact that now when you do a Google search, you may get the answer at the top, when a lot of businesses have paid real money to be
Yeah.
that solution you find. I think, an interesting thing is going to be, how do we, I mean, right now, generically, I think we say you want to do the same kind of SEO and the same everything you would do to be found in a search, so that hopefully ChatGPT and Gemini and everybody and their AI solution finds you. But I do kind of wonder if OpenAI is working behind the scenes to figure out, because right now there's no console that I'm aware of that I can go to OpenAI and say, hey, when somebody asks about this, I'd like my customer, to be the initial solution that ChatGPT responds with. I think that's really how Google made a lot of their money. I think that's how maybe some of these AI models that currently are not profitable, right? I think OpenAI is a big red number right now, but I think that's going to evolve. So I think it's going to create a little chaos. So it's just like all the jobs out there, right? Creates a little chaos, creates a little pain, but then things get figured out, and then we figure out how to utilize it better.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting to say because like when it comes to AI, there's a big race going on. That like recently I saw that there was a little rift between OpenAI and Microsoft. OpenAI acquired one company, a coding platform, AI coding platform, I guess Cursor, I might be wrong. And then then Microsoft just made their GitHub Copilot open source in
Yeah.
response to that competition, in response to their acquiring this competitor. So I think it's still, yeah, I'll be interested to see. Like, I never thought of this from an advertiser angle. If an advertiser will user, scroll down and get a chance to hit my advertisement or not. Yeah, that's a great angle to think about.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a challenge right now. I know there's a lot of people who are unhappy, when Google rolled that out, and I don't think there was a lot of what they felt was advanced warning for those that are spending the money to be at the top of that search. But I see where people would be unhappy with that, and I would see where some people are also unhappy because I think there's a certain number of people, probably a higher percentage than we might even realize, that are now going to ChatGPT, for example, directly to find answers where they, in the past, maybe they would have went to Google. So I think that's going to be the next big opportunity for everybody in the marketing advertising world is making sure that your customers are presented there. And I guess I would say I think about that because I have to. That's that's what we do around here. But um, yeah, so this has been really interesting, really fun. I'm really glad I got to talk to you. I wanna hit you with a big question. Like, is there anything that you predict for the future, for software and tech that nobody's talking about right now? I mean, ChatGPT just showed up and really brought AI to the forefront, and was it only been like 3 years now? It's not been long. I mean, everything's different now. I mean, what do you think's that thing that nobody's talking about that's gonna change everything in the future?
Well, yeah, that's great question, and it's very. I think now I see with this chat GPT and AI emergence, I think everybody are talking about technology. Everybody are talking about what's next. How can we improve this? How can we improve that? How can we automate it? So automation is really a hot topic right now. We are automating almost everything from robotics uh, to simple workflow in different industry, and we are saying all those different kind of vertical AI agents which are replacing SaaS-based companies. So I see lots of complex dashboards, complex enterprise tool with lots of data, which will in longer run will just make the user tired with all of this data. We are just
Right.
bombarding on them, complex data. I think we need a breather, like a breather within your app, within your tool. So we are expecting humans to interpret complex data in real time, navigate dense interfaces, and make rapid decisions, all while staying focused and accurate. So, so we need opportunity for user to recover, have clarity, and be calm. I think designing for emotional sustainability is the next thing for sure. Like, can we design
Hmm,
dashboard that feel less overwhelming? Can
hmm.
AI proactively reduce stress by prioritizing only what's urgent? Can we introduce moments of breathing, as I said, moment of breathing space in software, the same way architecture does in physical spaces? Uh, I predict we'll need to go beyond usability and start designing for human resilience. And those who get the right, especially in high stakes industries, I think security is a high stake industry, will have a
I would agree.
competitive advantage that's about more than just features. I think that's what I see because I don't think so. I can comment on what's next. technology wise, like, but I think this is what I see going. Lots of data, lots of, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, we need a break.
One of those open-ended questions. There really is no right answer. Just
Yeah.
a chance to be creative and dream. Um, I'll imagine that we'll have these robots with AGI, and I can tell them to please build me a gasoline-powered Porsche car. Because everything's going to be electric, so they could make my retro cars that I probably won't have much longer. But no, it's all fun, and I think user experience. And again, for anybody that wasn't familiar, with that type of role and what goes on. I mean, there's so much intentionality in the software and all the technology that we use. And I think sometimes people just wonder if maybe it just happened to land in that spot. I mean, a lot of thought goes into where those buttons are and how they look and the texture. I mean, it's just fascinating, all that goes into that. So, thanks so much for coming on, man. It's been a long time. It was really good to
Yes.
see you again. And if anybody's interested in connecting with Hemil, we'll put if you're all right with it, we'll put your LinkedIn profile and your information in the video description. And hope to talk to you again, man. It looks like you're doing big things, and I'm sure you have big things ahead of you.
Thanks a lot, Josh. It was so fun conversing with you about UX and AI and tech in general. I'm looking forward to do this again, and it was great meeting you. And one thing I like to add that if anybody's curious about UX or design thinking in general, they should check out NN Group 10 usability 10 heuristic principles. Just Google NN Group 10 design principles, and I think those are gold standards. Even if you have not have UX implemented in your software, just if you make sure your tool or app follows those 10 principles, it's a great start.
I love that. That's great advice. That's a good route to go. So thanks again for coming on, and for the rest of you out there, I will try not to go 2 months between episodes again. we have more guests coming up. Thanks again to Hemil. Thanks again to all of you. We'll see you soon.
Bye.